So yeah.
But that's why I wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Why did they teach us about money at school? Nothing. Is that an accident? No. So the advantage you and I have is we have some semblance of a financial education, looking from behind the scenes of the wizard. You know, the wizard's just this big fake machine. You call it the City of London, I call it Wall Street. And I call it the retirement system. And the rioting in France today is America in 2 years. When the baby boomers of my generation find out they can't afford to retire, they're going to be rioting. There'll be, that's why, Brian, I sit here. One thing I like about America, this is a Dirty Harry gun. It's the 44 Magnum, same model. As Dirty Harry said, feeling lucky. How many rounds did I shoot? The most powerful handgun on earth. It's coming. You can see it in France today.
Well,
oh no, that's because they're French. No, it's coming.
Right. Well, last few years, Robert, so many people have talked and even tried to be proponents of this concept of the universal basic income. And people are talking about how this is a great thing and we need it. And, AI is coming in and people are saying, well, that's okay. AI is going to replace all these useless jobs and everyone can have a nice universal basic income. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. First of all, that's worse than a paycheck. It's the government giving you this, which means, guess what? The government now controls you. It also doesn't teach you how to create wealth like your rich dad did. So, like you said, they're literally onboarding us into the socialist system that you're seeing in Paris.
And then what happened on February 8th of this year, the reason I wrote a book called The Capitalist Manifesto. But February 8th of this year, I was at Arizona State University. I was teaching all these young, the gifted students at Arizona State. And 37 of the teachers came after me. And that's when I said, that's enough. So Brian, in 10 days, I wrote my next book. It's called Capitalism Teaches People How to Fish. Marxism teaches people how to steal fish from people who fish. And it comes out on April 6th this year. It's only 500 copies of it. But I crashed it because I've had enough. And like I said, I flew these in Vietnam, went down 3 times. I fight for our freedoms. I didn't fight for, I just fought for our freedom. And we're losing our freedom because our academics are communists. And guys like Gad Saad and Jordan Peterson are speaking out. And I encourage people to speak out. Why let these academic types steal our freedoms? It doesn't make sense to me. Who cares what gender you are? I mean, I don't. I'm glad they're finally getting men out of women's sports. I mean, what the heck's wrong with this?
Yeah.
What difference does it make? I mean, if women let the women kick those guys out. You know what I mean? I just don't understand this stuff.
Robert, you mentioned the ESG earlier, and explain to people, because when they hear ESG, they're like, oh, this sounds like good causes, environmental, social, governments. Tell me what's happening there, and maybe even talk about some of the big moves of BlackRock, which I think has $1 trillion of assets that are maybe pushing some of this agenda. Explain to people why maybe it's not so nice and altruistic, this ESG.
No, E stands for environment, S stands for social, and G stands for governance, or the rule of law. And the rule of law is that all people are created equal under the rule of law, but it's not. And BlackRock is shutting down a lot of my oil projects. So what's that going to do to inflation? It's going to make it higher. Without oil, we can't function. I just flew in from Romania via London last night. What's that cost? What's that going to cost next? What are they going to do? Make that British Airways jet fly in electricity? It's not possible. You define the laws of logic and gravity. So we have to have energy. Civilization runs on energy. So that's why Biden's first move was to stop the Keystone XL pipeline. And I immediately knew he's going to crush the middle class. And the middle class leads to revolution when they can no longer feed their kids. And you think this war in the Ukraine, I mean, look at this guy Biden. His kid was taking money from the Ukraine, Russia, and China. Give me a break. Donald Trump would slap his kids around for doing that. So we've gone so hardcore woke, communism, Marxist, that if we don't speak up, who are we? As Jordan Peterson says, when you have something to say, silence is a lie. When you have something to say, silence is a lie. So my new book comes out April 6th, only 500 copies. All the A students are going, but you have some mistakes in it. I said, Yeah, but I sell more copies than you do, idiot. You know, I mean, I hate these A students. Oh, you misspelled capital. Well, what kind of capital am I talking about? Money or state capitals? You know what I mean? They're so anal, they can't see the wood from the trees. We've got to speak out, Brian.
Small ebook, big impact, the wealth tree. The only 4 ways that will make you financially free forever. Download it here for free.